There's our beautiful faces. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first live streamed podcast recording here. I am Nathan, and that is Yara. Say hello, Yara. Okay, so we are in a moment going to just start our normal process of recording the episode, just like we would any day, any normal time. But the only difference is going to be that this time we're going to be live streaming it. So obviously, this version of it is going to be somewhat more, what's the word, rough around the edges as opposed to our finished product, but it should still get you the basic gist. So we're going to be doing our qualitative and quantitative review. Yara, I don't know. Are we going to do the whole podcast on live streaming, or are we going to cut off the stream like halfway through or something? What do you think?
Whatever you prefer.
We might just do the qualitative here on the stream, and then if you want to hear the quantitative, you can listen to the actual podcast, or you can listen to the whole thing live on Chapel Bell Curve, wherever you can find podcasts, or by going to our Patreon at patreon.com/Chapel Bell Curve, which we have here in our graphic today. So, Yara, let's start recording.
Okay, I'm posting this on my Instagram story.
And now I'm recording. Are you recording?
Yes. Let me make sure my audio is correct.
You good? I'm sorry, you just went out for a second.
Okay. No, you're good. We are good.
All right, let's sync it up. So, clapping in 3, 2, 1. All right.
Jazz hands.
Jazz hands indeed. So, I will do our intro, and then you can do the outro. And we're recording, and then I'll do the Patreon plug, and you do the home field ad. What the heck? Hold on, my recording just messed up. Let's try it again.
You got it. Should I restart it?
Yeah, just restart it.
Okay. I feel like my voice goes up like 18 octaves whenever we record, and I sound like Mickey Mouse. I need to like lock in and clock in and stop doing that. Okay, I restarted my recording.
And so did I. All right. I'm peaking where I want to be peaking. I might just give it a little more juice here. Yep. All right. And syncing. And 3, 2, 1. All right. I'll give some dead air, and then we will go right into it. This is Chapel Bell Curve, a podcast about football and feelings. I'm Nathan.
And I'm Yara.
And today we are here to review the Dawgs' last tilt against Clemson, a dominating 34-3 win in Atlanta in the Dawgs' second home field, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. If you would like to support this podcast, we want to say right at the top that one of the best ways you can do that to give us support directly is to get on our Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can join an amazing community of patrons, and for $3 a month, you can have access to our unedited show feed, and there are just more bonuses and what's the word I'm looking for? Benefits as you go up the tiers. We also this year have a sponsor. Would anyone, geez, I'm still in English teacher mode. Yara, I'll just cold call you. Would you like to tell the people about our sponsors today?
Absolutely. So our sponsor for today and for the 2024 season is Home Field Apparel, a vintage-inspired college athleisure brand. We're gearing up for the football season, and you can get a football box with 3 new exclusive items for your favorite college football team, even if it's not Georgia. And you can also get a platinum box with a hat or ringer, a koozie, and a platinum pass with 20% off all season long, as well as early access to everything that Home Field releases. So if you want, go to homefieldapparel.com and use code CBC24 for 15% off your first order. Thank you so much, Homefield, for sponsoring us.
Absolutely. I am currently, if you are on our YouTube right now, I am wearing my Red Coat Band Homefield shirt. I really like it because it says the heart of the Bulldog spirit, which is something that Papa Tom Jackson, Dr. Tom Jackson, the voice of the Bulldogs, says in the pregame intro. And I really like that little phrase. I think it's cool. Also, just little Redcoat trivia. This is the 50th anniversary of Tom Jackson being the voice of the Redcoats this year, which I think is pretty cool.
Thank you, Tom Jackson.
Thank you, Tom Jackson, for your service. We love you. Everyone loves you. I've never met a single human that didn't like Tom Jackson the moment that they met him. Anyway, so we're going to be reviewing our game against Clemson, and we're going to do that as we always do in two parts. Our first part will be our qualitative review, where we talk about our experiences and what's going on. Our second part will be our quantitative review, where we get into the actual nitty-gritty of the plays and the stats, and we talk about how the game went in hopefully a more intelligent way. So, Yara, you ready?
Absolutely.
All right, so today we are going to start with our qualitative review. There isn't a lot of newsy stuff coming out that I thought was like super important to talk about, other than the fact that Michael Williams is apparently week to week with a minor ankle injury. Kirby Smart, in his press availability, there it is, emphasized that this didn't seem like it was going to be a nagging injury. When you hear ankle injury, that's always a concern just because of just the way that ankle injuries work. They just hang around. But it did seem like that he thinks that this is something that is not going to hurt Michael's chances for the rest of the season. And if he has to miss the Tennessee Tech game, not a big deal. Any other news that you heard around here that you think is, I don't know, important to talk about before we get into the around the league stuff?
I did see this stat during the Clemson game. I don't know if this is like news, but apparently Dabo Swinney has had 0 starts by transfers since the transfer portal originated in 2018. And that stat popped up right before the score was revealed again to be 34-3. So I don't know if that's news, but that is funny to me. I love to see Dabo Swinney suffering. So
yeah, well, you got a lot of it this weekend then. You must have really enjoyed the weekend.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, it seems like we managed to escape somewhat unscathed. There were a couple of injuries. It seemed like people went out and then came back in. Michael seems to be the one that is the most worrisome coming into the next week. Warren Brinson, who is coming off of an Achilles injury, he got stepped on above the ankle, but I think he actually came back in and played. But mostly Kristen Miller and Nazir Stackhouse came in and kind of took over some of his snaps. But he seems like he's going to be okay. I think that might have been just sort of someone coming off an Achilles. You want to have the maximum amount of caution with when they get stepped on, right? Obviously. So around the league, LOL LSU. They lost last night to USC in a way that was very funny, especially because Brian Kelly then pounded on the desk and he looked like he was about to have a heart attack. Brian Kelly eternally looks like a Catholic dad from the Midwest about to have a heart attack. And he looked like it a lot. And it was a pretty good game, but like there was a big turning point penalty caused by an LSU wide receiver miming shooting another player and then getting a personal foul penalty, which I guess I shouldn't like laugh at that or whatever, or uphold it, but it is the most LSU thing possible. LOL Texas A&M, they look pretty good, especially with a new coach, but I do think that, just having your first game be against a Power 2 opponent like Notre Dame, which whether I like them or not, they are. I do insist on mispronouncing the university's name for some reason, but like a power opponent against Notre Dame is really nothing to be ashamed of, but still LOL. Really, the LOL of the weekend, I think, goes out to our friends, the Florida Gators. I don't know if you Yara, did you see what happened to our good friends down in Gainesville?
I what happened?
They lost to Miami in the just
Oh,
most humiliating way possible. I believe the final score was like 41-17 or something. They just got absolutely torn up. Yeah, it was 41-17. Nailed it, Nathan. They got
by the U?
they got absolutely torn
The
up by
U?
you in a just hilarious way. Miami has a transfer quarterback who named Cam Ward, Cam Ward is the most like I don't know how to say this. Like he's the most lackadaisical looking player. I'm not saying he doesn't try hard, like he obviously does, but when he plays, he kind of just looks like he's like just running around out there, kind of just being like, yeah, we'll throw it over here. Yeah, I'll throw another touchdown. And I just think that that's delightful, just seeing him sort of very casually rip apart the team that I hate the most.
Excellent. I also saw something about like isn't he like the oldest college football player right now? And it's not even close.
I believe
Like
yeah.
he started college football when I started high school. I've graduated from college.
Yeah, he is.
It's been
He was born in 2002. He played at Incarnate Word, I believe, for 3 seasons. Then he played at Washington State for 1 season, and so now he's on his 5th year at Miami. I think he's 24, or he was born in 2002, so he's 20. He's only 22. No, that can't be right.
Oh,
When was he born?
I saw somebody this weekend with like a crazy stat about how they started college football in the year of our Lord 2016.
No, his first
I don't
year
know
at
who that
Incarnate Word was
was.
2020.
Okay. Word.
But
I don't know who that
22-year-old.
was then. My bad.
There are some very old players. This is the last of the COVID sort of super duper seniors. So there are some players that are on like their 7th year of college football right now, which is kind of impressive, I guess. Other things around the league, I don't know if you saw, Vandy beat Virginia Tech in overtime. Diego Pavia, who is their quarterback, Vandy's quarterback, he is an absolute baller. You know Diego Pavia because in 2023 he was at New Mexico State and he beat Auburn at Auburn, which I thought was delightful. He is a really good player, and they beat a not good but still power team in Virginia Tech, which is respectful. Tennessee scored exactly 69 points against UTC. UTK scored exactly 69 points, which I respect that. The thing I really respect, I love to see when people grow and when they become better versions of themselves. And so I believe the final score of the Ole Miss game this weekend, Ole Miss scored 76 points, which means that Lane Kiffin, they beat Furman 76-0. Now, this is why I think that's growth. That means that Lane Kiffin had the chance to score 69 points and didn't just take a knee. Like, he had them still score the last touchdown, and that is a massive amount of progress over where Lane Kiffin was merely a few years ago.
I think he could have scored 69 points. That would have been funny.
Yeah, but
Lane Kiffin, come back.
No, it's like he's trying to show that he's finally past his sort of like former ways, I guess. So, you have a note here about our little brothers over in Georgia Tech. What did
They
you want
won
to
the
say about
Marta
them?
Bowl.
Yeah. Good for them.
I'm so proud of you, little brother. You did it.
Look, there's been years in the past where Georgia Tech was not the second best team in Georgia. And so good for them. I think they're probably the second best team in Georgia. Georgia Southern also lost this weekend to Boise State by giving up, I believe, 7 running touchdowns against the same, or 6 running touchdowns or something like that against the same running back, which is really, really embarrassing. So, let's talk about our experiences.
Can we also provide, I'd like to provide a live Florida State update. 14-6. They just started the 3rd. God, how are you? I'll give you one guess as to who has 14 points.
That would be Boston
I'll
College,
give you a guess.
correct?
It is. It's not Florida State. Jesus, how are you about to be 0-2 as Florida State University?
Yeah, it's pretty
I
embarrassing.
actually do feel a bit of how did you say it? Schadenfreude?
Schadenfreude, yeah.
Thank you. I do feel a bit of schadenfreude because out of all the 39 colleges that I applied to, Florida State was the only one that rejected me. So, fuck you.
Get them. We are currently
Yeah.
recording during the Florida State Boston College game, if you can't tell. So let's talk about our
Thank you.
experiences this weekend. Yara, how was your weekend?
It was really good. Thank you for asking. So I watched the game with my best friend Kaylee, and it was so much fun. We watched the game at her house with her family, and her dad is a South Carolina alum, so we like have a mutual enemy in Clemson, and so we really enjoyed watching them suffer. We talked mad ball the whole time. It was so much fun. I also want to know why Clemson is so horrendously like terrible against us. I don't like, I was watching I was scrolling on Twitter, as one does after the game, and so many Clemson fans thought they had it in the bag. Like, the Clemson, I don't want to give attention to Barstool, but, like, the Clemson Barstool account was actually, like, live tweeting a breakdown as the game continued. I just don't understand where they thought they had a chance. Was it, like, Lulu, or did they actually unironically think it? Because that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that UGA. I don't think the UGA is necessarily any better as a fan base than Clemson is. They certainly are. They certainly seem delusional in hindsight. But to be fair, there was quite a bit of UGA delusion over the past few years when we would think that we had a chance against Alabama, and then we definitely did not.
Yeah.
So, how was your weekend? Like, other than that, any other experiences?
Oh my god, yeah. So Sunday, I went and watched the Monza Grand Prix with my friend Sahana, and it was so much fun because a driver that I really like, Charles Leclerc, he won, and it was wonderful because I hate another driver, Lando Norris, so much. I actually loathe that man till I die. And it looked like he was about to win for like a hot second, and he didn't. So, double win for me because a driver I like won and a driver that I don't like lost bad. He fumbled tremendously so.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a lot of fun. And today I went shopping and I got a bunch of stuff.
I'm proud of you.
And that was my weekend. Thanks so much.
Little Forever 21 trip.
Absolutely. They had a 50% off sale today.
Good
So, how was your weekend? You probably had a much more exciting weekend than I did. I feel like mine was very like lax.
Yeah, so I went to the game with the Redcoats, and I was the adult on the bus on the Sousa bus, and that was like an experience and a half. Yeah, I was the bus captain for the Sousa bus over the weekend, and I got there and I pulled in, and it's like I got there at 5. I got up at 4:30. I got there at 5. I pull in sort of like perpendicular to the bus that I don't know is the Sousa bus. So I get on. By the time I get on, they've already been roasting me in their group me for like 5 minutes because one of my wheels was like half an inch over one of the two lines between the two spaces. It wasn't over the line into the other space. It was like there was a rectangle between the two cars, and I was over a little bit, like a few inches over. And I know a couple of Sousa phones listen to this, and I just want to say, like, shut up. Like, none of y'all can drive. I've seen I've seen how the average parking job is in the deck over there by the IM deck over there by the field. You guys have nothing to talk about. I've been driving since longer than you were alive. And yeah, maybe I learned on a Flintstone car, but I still know how to drive. Anyway, so
get him.
We went to MBS. MBS is like a second home at this point. You know, it's not quite as, I don't know, like, it's not quite as exciting. Not exciting, but it's not quite as, like, new and fresh as it was a few years ago because we've gone so many times. But it was still a good experience. It's always fun when you go. You see people that are, like, there from the other bowls and from, like, the CFP. There were, like, people with, like, CFP patches on. There was a guy there with, like, a shirt that was for the Pop-Tart Bowl. And I tried to say, like, Pop-Tart Bowl. And he just didn't respond to me. I don't know if he was... The Pop-Tart Bowl was too big for me. Anyway... I fell asleep. I took 2 naps on the day. My second nap was on the way home. I just fell asleep, like, fell over the seat in front of me. Well, I had, like, a shelf in front of me because I'm in the front seat of the bus. But I fell over, like, immediately passed out. But I also leaned up against the wall of the end zone in MBS when there were like 50,000 people in it after we got seated and just fell asleep for like 5 minutes. And it was really good. Like standing up naps. I think my old man game is just elite right now. As for the
Were
game,
you a giraffe in your previous life? This is unrelated, but like, were you a giraffe in your previous life?
do they
This
sleep
is what that's
standing
giving.
up?
I think they do.
Huh. Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, I fell asleep like bit in half. Also, afterwards, I was really tired, and one of the other staff members who was on the bus like tapped me and was like, "Hey, man, are you okay? Do you need some medicine or anything?" But it was really just that like I had a travel pillow that I'd been using, like a neck pillow, and so I was like, "Oh, I want to fall asleep leaning forward." So I had a little shelf in front of me because I was in the front seat of the bus, and I put it in front of me and I just like swooshed my face into it like I was in a massage bed, and then I was just like,
Oh, that's nice.
I was out. Like I fell asleep inside a 285 and I woke up on the Athens loop, just like totally lulled to sleep. As
Oh,
for
nice.
as for my experience in the game, it was weird because I never felt we were in trouble, but in the first quarter, like when you play a close game against a talented team, which Clemson no doubt is, despite their deficiencies, which we can talk about in a moment. But when you play a close game against a talented team, like one big mistake can really cost you a lot in the game. So I was glad when we pulled away. Cade Klubnik is just sort of like, I think, really good proof of how being a 5-star doesn't automatically make you an elite player. I think he's a fine QB, but he didn't have a good wide receiver core, and he wasn't always accurate. Clemson has just a barely functioning wide receiver core. Okay, I got to say something. Public service announcement. Nobody listens to this that works at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I would imagine. But if you do, can you guys stop with the frickin' train horns? I'm trying to curse less, but they have a train horn, and it makes sense for Atlanta United because they have the whole spike thing, and it's all about like the trains and all this. I get it, but this is Georgia. Don't play a train horn. It scares me. It's too loud. I don't like it, and it upsets me. So that was our experience. So
Excellent.
we're going to get in our quantitative review. But before we do that, I'm going to stop the stream. So if you are watching the stream and you like to hear the qualitative, or sorry, strike that, reverse it. If you are watching the stream and you like to hear the quantitative review, you can check us out wherever you get podcasts at just Chapel Bell Curve. You can also go to linktree.com/Chapel Bell Curve, or you can support us by going to patreon.com/Chapel Bell Curve. And remember, if you would like to make an order at Home Field Apparel, CBC code CBC24 gives you 15% off your first order. They are excellent shirts. Go get one. So, for our YouTube viewers, we love you. Love.